Round of VVV Gaming's Losers Bracket this week, and we have a couple of new additions that I think will be going to be pretty cool. Definitely want your feedback on them. Also, later on the show, we do have King of the Couch East Coast owner and operator Rod Lane with us. Stay tuned for that interview. It's going to be good stuff. This week, we're starting things off just a little bit differently. Going to give you a couple quick headlines that are going on in the gaming world, and then we will move on into some StarCraft news. First things first, MLG is now taking community feedback on new Halo Reach game types. You can test them out with the rest of the community. They have a thread over on the MLG forum with these new game types. Thoughts?
I'm going to tell you right now, it is your responsibility as a Halo community member to help test those settings and play an active role in the final settings they use. Do not miss this opportunity. It doesn't happen often. Get involved. Help MLG test good settings, because you know as well as I do they could be better. Take advantage of it.
This is not the only thing that MLG is currently taking community feedback on. The fans helped select what matches were streamed for Halo back at MLG Dallas. This time they have upgraded to include StarCraft Friday night as well, so you can get in your votes right now for what matches you would like to see streamed.
Again, this is your opportunity to tell Major League Gaming what kind of programming you want to see on their stream. Take advantage of it. I'm going to plug. I'd love for you guys to vote for Active Rush. Major League Gaming was kind enough to mention them as one of the choices. So if you are a VVV community member listening to this show and you want to watch our team on the stream, you're going to have to vote. Major League Gaming is putting the choice in your hands. Take advantage of it, because it's going to be those people who vote and you going out there and getting other people to vote that are going to make the difference.
Other quick news, Sony, in regards to the recent PlayStation Network hack, has released an estimate on what they believe to be the damages caused from the attack. They estimate their losses to be approximately $170 million.
And to add to that, if you add the earthquake damage to that, it goes from $170 million to $3.2 billion. Long story short, Sony has taken 2 hits back-to-back. First, the devastating earthquake that struck Japan, and then the PSN breach. Normally, I'm pretty tough on corporations, but the earthquake is clearly not in their control. That's just a tragedy. And to be honest, criminal activity is never the fault of the victim. Again, I sympathize with Sony's position, and that's why I keep buying PlayStation games. I will continue to support Sony. They support Major League Gaming. We have a responsibility to support those who support Major League Gaming. This is important. Don't forget to support PlayStation Network.
I saw a really funny comment on Kotaku that said Sony reported a $3.2 billion loss last fiscal year. This makes it out to a roughly 1/30th compared to their overall losses, what they lost from the PlayStation hack. Gotta wonder what's going on inside Sony.
What any corporation does in this situation, you're going to see personnel changes, because Sony is a mega corporation and they're not going anywhere, but definitely they're going to have some change in leadership in key positions.
One last quick note, huge leak last week, trailer for Modern Warfare 3 was officially released this week as well, but Activision took the opportunity, seized it, and actually capitalized on the hype that was created, released a couple of teasers. This actually resulted in absolutely huge numbers for the company. In the first 48 hours of the teaser's existence, they generated 4.8 million hits. To put that in perspective, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops only had 61,000 and 89,000 hits on their teasers, respectively, within the same time frame.
Yeah, bravo to Infinity Ward, right? You take this leak, and you know what? You turn it into gold. Let's hope that Call of Duty 3 is handled and releases with the same kind of savvy that Infinity Ward had for this leak situation. Well done to Infinity Ward.
Speaking of well done, do you think this segment is a good addition to the show? We definitely want your feedback. We do also have one additional new segment we will be adding to the show starting next week called Feedback of the Week. We definitely want the best constructive criticism that you can give us. We will be covering what you say to us on the show. It'll be just a quick blast, shout outs to you for your feedback, and if you have any questions or concerns, we will address them here on the show. So thank you so much for your constant support and feedback. Now let's head over into some StarCraft news. This week we do have VVV Titan with us. Titan, how are things going, sir?
Things are going great. Much better than usual.
Oh, do tell.
Well, I was babysitting a cat for my trumpet teacher this past week, so I've been able to play much. But now with that over, I'm free to play. Yeah.
So anybody out there who has a feline in need, Tristan has already served his feline babysitting time. And it is my understanding, Tristan, you are no longer available for cat duty. Is that correct?
Hell no.
A lot of cats are going to be disappointed, Tristan. I want you to know that.
That's fine with me. Yeah.
Let's talk about the big news. We are putting our money into StarCraft as an organization, and we're going to launch Wednesday Night Starcraft. It's based on Monday Night Football. Tell everybody a little bit about it.
Oh, yes. It's going to be, a huge weekly event that is hosted by VVV, and it's going to be every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern. And you're not going to want to miss this because we are searching throughout the StarCraft 2 community, finding the best teams possible and throwing them up against our VVV A team in a best-of-7 matchup, King of the Hill style. You know, the winner keeps going and going until they lose, and the first team to 4 wins the matchup. Probably my favorite part of the whole thing is we have 2 dedicated casters who will be doing a little duo on this every single week, Matron and Crota, and wow, they are really good. We were doing a dry run-through the other week, and they just sounded absolutely fluid and phenomenal, so you are not going to want to miss this. You really, really want to check it out. And speaking of Czech, the first team we're playing is Czech 6 Gaming this Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it. We'll see you there.
The winner takes $100, completely sponsored and supported by VVV Gaming. This is our A-team's opportunity to win some cash, but for our opponents and also an opportunity to upset the VVV home team, so to speak, and win some money themselves. We're going to be basically styling this off Monday Night Football, as I had mentioned earlier, and as Tristan pointed out, we have 2 casters. We're going to have Crota, who is primarily going to be responsible for the actual casting and the sort of play-by-play. And then we have Matron, who's going to probably be adding a lot of color commentary. If one of them can't make it, they're very capable of casting the whole thing themselves. But we really want to have Wednesday Night StarCraft become a staple for both our community as well as the greater StarCraft community. And just to put this out there, $100 a week, you multiply it by 50 weeks. I hope it demonstrates VV Gaming's commitment to the StarCraft community.
So yeah, last week when they were doing the dry run for this, I was teaching a lesson and just popped on the stream to see how it was going, listening to how the cast was going and how the event was going. And dang, Crota and Matron, they are some freaking good casters. Like, how do I explain it? They just sounded amazing. So fluid, funny, and really, really worked well together. Great chemistry. This is going to be amazing. I really can't wait to see how this turns out.
Yeah, and to be honest, this is the first time they've ever cast together. So, we really wanted to push this sort of experimental model where we took 2 casters that have never worked together and put them together and see how they work. And to be honest, we got lucky. They just have a natural chemistry and they flow really well together. So taking it away from luck and going to the opposite spectrum, back to skill, the A-team has made some changes recently. Talk to us about that.
Well, it goes even beyond skill. I mean, recently we added a new Protoss player to fill out our lineup, and his name is VVV Hasu. And this guy, he is active on the forums, he's active on the Twitter, he is active everywhere, always streaming, always on Mumble. He is the type of community member you want to have on your team. And not to mention, like you said, he has plenty of skill. I remember actually playing him, I think about a month or 2 ago, and he beat me 2-0. I was kind of mad, but it was cool. I got over it. But I'm glad he's on our team. He's risen up from the academy team, and really, he's earned his stripes.
So a very formal welcome to VV Hasu on VV Gaming StarCraft A-Team. We are happy to have you, and we look forward to following you.
Yeah, big welcome to VV Hasu joining the A-Team. Now, let's talk about another member of the A-Team real quick. VV Murder looks to be trying to make his way into the WCG US Finals for StarCraft 2. He actually will be playing his first game in the Final 16 for qualifier number 2 this Wednesday night. So, big shout out to him. By any chance, Tristan, do you know who won the first qualifier?
E.G. Idra.
Ooh, so looks like if Murder does qualify for the finals, he will have some tough competition there. But we do wish all the best to Murder. And Titan, I'm assuming that we'll be seeing you rising through the ranks in these qualifiers here soon too, correct?
Of course, why not, man?
Good. We look forward to updates, sir. And as always, we look forward to cheering you on next week in Columbus, Ohio. How's the practice been going?
Not so well recently because of the little cat sitting, but I got the next 2 weeks completely free, so I'm going to be doing 8 hours a day at least, so I'm going to be more than prepared, hopefully.
And we are more than prepared to cheer you on. Sir, it is always a pleasure to have you on the show. Any shout-outs before you head out?
Shout out to Murder, because we were doing some TVZ practice tonight. It's okay, Murder. We're going to get it. We're going to get it.
You are such a bad person, Tristan.
What?
Because I watched that. You were giving him a lot of grief. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I was trying to keep him in a positive spirit. Come on now.
Well, you, sir, are a model team member. You are supportive and energetic. And as Jason just said, it is always a pleasure to have you on this show. You have a good night.
You too, guys. See you around.
All right, let's talk about Call of Duty because PlayStation Network is back up, and we have not had a lot of opportunity to cover our team, BBB Fly Society. For those of you who want to know a little bit more, we've had them on before, but to give you an update, they're back into the swing of scrimming regularly. Monday night was really good for them. I think Sunday night was a little rough, but they're definitely moving along. They're going to, in the next 10 days, spend a lot of time focusing on their weaker maps and then just reinforcing their strengths. Brian, Hamad, Joel, their coach, George, and obviously Mr. Kelly McDonald. I wish that squad a lot of good luck because, to be honest, we want them to come into Columbus really showcasing their talent. I don't believe they get as much credit as they deserve. And I hope that a lot of people get to see what makes up VVV Fly Society come MLG Columbus. So just want to let the community know they're back in the swing of things. They stream a lot. Watch the shout box for streams from VVV Fly Society. That'll be your opportunity to get to watch the team and let them preview their skill before you get to see them play at MLG Columbus. With that being said, VV Active Rush, they're doing the same thing. I don't want to go too much into Halo right now because we're going to be doing a Halo preview next week where we'll go into a lot more detail about what's going on in the Halo community. I talk to Active Rush quite frequently. They've been spending a lot of time promoting their own team name, getting Active Rush out there. And I'm going to say it again, as I said earlier in the show, make sure that if you want to watch Active Rush stream their match, it's one of the choices on the MLG stream vote. So go vote. Vote for VVV Active Rush. If you want to see them, you're going to need to turn out the vote.
Special guest this week on the Losers Bracket. This week we have King of the Couch East Coast owner and operator Rod Lane with us. Rod, welcome to the Losers Bracket, my friend.
Hey guys, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We are glad to have you. Now, for the listeners that do not know, NJHalo, King of the Couch, some people get a little confused about this. Is it a LAN center? Can you talk to us? What is King of the Couch?
Basically, NJHalo was my brand that I had when I first started out into the first-person shooters. King of the Couch, one of my partners, Chris Bowman, is from Texas, and he owned King of the Couch, and I was NJHalo. We got together, and we decided to merge our whole thing and go, from coast to coast, different parts of the country. Only thing was, you can't put the NJ brand in Texas. You can't take the NJ brand and bring it to California, et cetera, because NJ stands for New Jersey. So I adopted the name King of the Couch. So a lot of people were coming to my event when I was NJHalo alone, and that name sort of stuck. So I just kept that with my branding and everything. And I'm not actually a LAN center. We're mobile. We do events in convention centers, hotels, malls, you name it. We've done it. Restaurants, we've done Bennigan's, we've done New York City, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Philadelphia, Connecticut, Texas, California. We're all over the place, and we're sort of like a mobile land center, you can call it. We pack up cargo vans, we set up, and we make ourselves a home.
This sounds like you've got a really cool operation that you're bringing to the market here for us gamers. What brought you into the competitive gaming scene? What got you started with this first-person shooter tournament extravaganza?
Oh, well, I started out as a Madden player. John Madden football is my passion in the game that I started out with. And as you get a little older and get some more responsibilities in life and bills and mortgages, et cetera, like you just can't put the time in that you used to. So I used to go to tournaments and competitive play as a Madden player, many years ago, and I just found out that my skills were no longer to the level of the top gamers. So what I decided to do was get on the administrative end of it and started running my own tournaments. And I started out with NJ Madden Ballers, and then a couple about a year after that, one of my former students, a guy by the name of Andreas Pearson, also known as Nexi, in the competitive gaming arena with MLG, came to me and said, Mr. Lane, that's what he called me because I was his seventh grade history teacher. Mr. Lane, why don't you try Halo? So we tried out with Halo 1. It worked out, and from then on, we adapted the name NJHalo, and we've been moving forward ever since.
Wow, Nexi, huh? That really, that's like ancient history almost. No offense to Nexi. But no, I mean, he's doing fantastic with Major League Gaming, so that's awesome. I think Nexi is a staple for the MLG community, and I know he's been a huge help to us. So that's awesome to know that you were actually his history teacher. That's really cool. So what is upcoming for King of the Couch? And talk a little bit about this multi-location. Actually, let's talk about the multi-location first. I know California, Texas, New Jersey. Where exactly are events being held in 2011? What states? What's upcoming for the whole King of the Couch brand?
Well, we have a couple big things coming. In 2 weeks, we have an event out in California in the Los Angeles area. I'm going to have one on July 23rd out in Morris County, New Jersey. And then our Texas guys they shut down for a little bit, and they're going to open back up in August once John Madden releases. The mobility gives us a couple things. It gives us the ability. The LAN center thing is a hard thing. I have a career that I've been vested in for many years. I've been a teacher for almost 20 years. All that stuff, all that time is put in. So it's just something where this is a part-time gig. And what happens is there's certain demands, and New Jersey is very split. Northern Jersey is very favorable to New York City. Southern Jersey is very favorable to Philadelphia. With that, I have the ability to float in different spots and set up shop, and that's a model that works for us. Our model is to get exposure to these a lot of gamers that want to get into the competitive scene, that want to take the next step into the big time, but they need a place to start, and we consider ourselves the launch pad. Guys like Ghost Giambis out of our tournaments. We've had numerous John Madden champions, a lot of Call of Duty champions. Mewtwo King from Smash Brothers started out with King of the Couch also as a little kid coming with his mom years ago. So we have a staple of champions, and we're truly a launch pad for champions. And the ability to move from place to place gives us the opportunity to get to gamers that don't have the ability to travel all around. So that model works well for us.
When I think about the richness of the history here and how far you go back with the competitive gaming community, it's awesome to hear these names that everyone's familiar with: Mewtwo King, Ghost Giambi, Nexi. Over the past years, I imagine that running these kind of events has been had its ups and downs. And I know from our players that attend just recently Sundown, Toxicity, everyone's familiar with your events. What would you say have been some of the best moments and maybe some of the most challenging moments for King of the Couch or even as NJHalo?
Some of the best moments, probably like the Halo 2 launch. It was on a regular Xbox, and those were the times when we really, really got ourselves on the map. There was guys like Strange Purple. I don't know if you guys remember him. and Pistol Pete and Triple X. Those guys are legends back in the Halo days, and that's when I really started out. And what happened was I was doing John Madden football, and then I started with the Halos. And Halo wasn't a game that I was actually competitive in myself personally. I just took the word of Nexi on that, and he was my first commissioner, and he believed in what on my abilities. I believed in him, and that's how it started. That's probably some of the high points. Some of the low points, it's a struggle. Being around for years, I've seen many organizations come and go during the time that I've been around. And, and games have their ups and downs. You see some games, they peak, then they, sometimes the players lose interest in them. So some of the downers are it's constantly having to get new people into the genres, to constantly build communities. And one thing I don't have forums on my site. I don't have a quote unquote dedicated community. I didn't have until recently, and we'll talk about that. But one of the purposes was to get that community where it's consistent. And that's one of the hardest things to do. And we've been doing that over the years. We've been very fortunate and blessed to be able to constantly rebuild and get new players in the fold. So some of the downers are like, that rebuilding process. That Halo right now, our numbers have not been where we like them to be. And so we're in that little funk right now where we're trying to rebuild the Halo and Halo Reach. So those are some of the downers. Like I said, the high points when that Halo 2 launched and when I first got into first-person shooters, it was awesome just meeting new people from new communities. Little Poison, Vic, his father. Like I said, it was just amazing.
It's almost like a who's who. I mean, Triple X is one of the coaches who, when we first started VV Gaming, I think he was coaching Carbon at that time. And I think he was one of the people who really, to me, set the example of what a professional coach was. It was just a really exciting time in Halo, and this goes back to 06, 07, that time. It was just interesting to think about how long you've been around competitive gaming. I think so many organizations have come and gone, so many things. So let me ask you, how do you feel about competitive gaming today? Bigger, better, lose some charm? Where do you feel where it is right now?
The online explosion has really been big. The original Halo 1 was not even there was not even an online component to it. There were some organizations that had servers or something built up where you could sort of rig it, where you could play. There were no Facebooks, there were no Twitters back when I started. So the online explosion has changed the whole realm a little bit. Like I said, another thing, you have other games coming out. You have the Call of Duties that weren't out as popular as they were back when I first started. You have games like Gears of War that are out. So what happens is there's a lot more out there. So your audience is split. The gamers go from different games. So like I said, the hardest thing and the biggest difference from now and when I started almost 10 years ago is the amount of games that are out there that are quality games. And it's just harder. It's harder to keep the kids interested in a certain game. And then we have the social medias that are out there. You have your Twitters and you have your Facebooks. And with that, it adds a little bit more of an edge to the gaming aspect, whether it be, trash talking or just little messages from Twitter, where everybody's doing. So things have changed. The digital age has really changed it. And I think the awareness is out there much more than it was back when I was when I started. So that's a good thing.
One thing I noticed when I compare some communities to others, for example, Brawl really doesn't have an online component, but Brawlers seem to be much more passionate and engaged when I watch them play. Like they seem to have a tighter community, or at least a more engaged community. And I think that speaks to not being online, where I think it's much easier to be rude to someone online than it is to be rude face to face.
I agree with that, definitely. The Brawl community, Smash Brothers, is very tight. Those guys are very organized. They know each other, from coast to coast. That's one of the examples that competitive gaming can take is from that community. Those guys are just very together, and like the online component to the Wii is not a big thing. So the live events are more. This gives those guys a chance to display some of their talents more so than the other games with all the online tournaments and the online events and ladders and everything. The Smash Brothers community online is not the biggest thing to them, and that social aspect of coming together is very good. And that's one thing that we have to make sure that we keep this going is the social aspect, the human to human aspect. You know, a man talking to another man, a young lady talking to another young lady, et cetera, as opposed to just being some digits on the computer or just typing and everything. I think the social aspect of live events has to keep on going, and that's what King of the Couch is about.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, that's, I think, what brought us to us talking and forming a partnership. Tell me about what interested you about VV Gaming and, from your perspective, how this all developed.
VV Gaming is something that I see at all my tournaments. There's always somebody there from VV Gaming with a shirt on. It's been that way for the last couple of years. And what I see with them is a certain behavior, which is positive, a certain outlook, which is positive, a certain swagger that is positive. When you have all that positive energy, it's something special. And those guys, like I said, they're competitive, but yet they're gentlemen at the same time. So that was something that intrigued me because of the fact that it stands for what I stand for. And it's also a community. That's one thing that I actually never had was a home community. I was almost like a nomad type person, a nomad type organization where we put on events, but we never really linked with a certain community that had like multi gamers. The VV community has different gamers. There's Gears of War people, you have Halo people, you have Smash Bros people, and that's what we do. There's no better fit than having a group that performs and puts on events, and you have people that play in the events. So you take the best players and you take the best organization, and then I think it's a marriage made in heaven.
Well, I have to agree with you. I mean, the history of King of the Couch, NJHalo, I really didn't know until we started talking. And as I started thinking about, the hard work you as a organizer must have put in all these years. I mean, I know the work I put in just in 4 years of doing this, and I know what it's like going to symposium and conferences and the work that goes in on that. And here you are doing, all this out of passion and love for gaming. And I think that's amazing. So thank you for your tireless contribution to competitive gaming, because like you said, NJHalo, King of the Couch, always comes up when people talk about local tournaments. I would say in the Northeast, it is the first-person shooter tournament that any of our players want to go to, because you always draw the best players. And I think as the audience is listening and realize your history, it makes a lot of good sense why you do draw that kind of a player base, is because you have that long-term relationship. So for us, it's a great fit too. I want to, again, use this opportunity to talk about your next event, because for a lot of our players who are not going to be able to make it out to Anaheim, which is in that same month, having a local tournament in the Northeast will really give them a chance to go out. So I really want to talk about that. You said it's going to be in July. So what details can you share right now about the upcoming event?
Yeah, all right. The event is going to be on July 23rd. It's going to be in Morristown, New Jersey. We're going to be there for at least July and possibly August. September, we're going to be moving back over to Bergen County for a much larger venue for Gears of War and everything like that coming out. But for this July event, we're going to have Call of Duty Black Ops. We're also going to have a lot of the fighting games. We're going to get into the Super Street Fighter Arcade Edition. We'll have Mortal Kombat, who's been, that's a sleeper game that's been, a lot of players are playing it on Xbox Live and everything else. We're also going to have Marvel vs. Capcom 3. We're also going to have NCAA football, which will be launching a week before that. This is, I'm a big football guy, so NCAA and Madden is right around the corner. But for July, we will have NCAA. And then we're going to have Pokemon. We had a incredible turnout. Early May event, we had Pokemon on the DS, black, white. That was an incredible turnout. And we are so excited about that.
Someone had mentioned to me that you had Pokemon at this last event, and the more I think about it, I was surprised that even in a competitive community like VV Gaming, I have people who love Pokemon. A lot of them spoke about the fact that you were drawing, I guess, a lot of families, because I guess Pokemon has a little bit of a younger audience. Is that right?
Pokemon is something that I didn't know too much about But just being in a competitive gaming atmosphere, and one day I went to the GameStop on a Sunday, I guess, and the new DS was coming out, and I saw this line of people, and I'm like, oh, well, what is this for? And I'm talking to the salesman, oh, this is the Pokemon, blah blah blah, this is coming out. So I said, let me do some research. So I did some research, and I got in touch with probably one of the top 5 Pokemon representatives in possibly the world. His name is King Daddy D-Mac. He's out of Connecticut. We got together, and I had an event scheduled for May 7th, and I talked to D-Mac, and he said, why don't you try Pokemon? And I said, well, we got 2 weeks. He said, that's all I need. He went out and put it out to his people. We didn't have the proper marketing on it, but we still drew over 100 Pokemon players. A lot of them, it's very family oriented. We have a lot of the kids are a little bit younger. They come with their dads and moms, but it was a great, great atmosphere, and we're very excited about that. So this will be our second Pokemon event on July 23rd, and it's going to be really something to remember. Very special.
I have to admit, from everything I've heard from VV Rapture and the others that have gone to competitive Pokemon events in the past, it actually sounds like it's a pretty ruckus title at events, and I would actually love to see one of these tournaments possibly on a bigger capacity at some day. So really cool that you are doing this, Rod. Really excited you got to come on the show this week and tell us a little bit more about King of the Couch. Before you do head out, I wanted to ask if you had any shout-outs, things of that nature, before you left us this week.
Yeah, I just want to shout out, I want to thank Jerry once again for helping get this partnership together, something that's going to be great for both of us. I want to shout out my guy in California, A1, my guy in Texas, Chris Bowman, and also VVV Cheese, who's going to help me do something with the Smash Brothers on July 23rd. VVV will be definitely involved in that tournament as far as the Smash Brothers division goes, and we're very excited about that.
Well, we're really proud of VV Cheese when we got him on board. He does a lot of forum work for the Smash community, and that makes him a target. A lot of people beat him up, but he's one of the most passionate brawlers that I know, so I think he's going to be a huge asset. Let me thank you also, Rod, for being a partner and for taking the time out to be on our show, and I look forward to working with you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Guys, take it easy.
I know we're getting near the end of the show here. I just wanted to say that, it is going to be such a big change after Columbus as we revamp our sponsorship structure. We offer full sponsorships for the first time. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things change after MLG Columbus. I can't stress that enough. And I want to talk about so much of it because, some staff know I'll be bringing the full-time StarCraft players are going to get together in Chicago in June. Who knows? They may even be on this show from Chicago. Titan, Murder, and obviously Time, who is moving to Chicago full-time to be with his fiancée. So, again, want to prep the VV community for what are going to be significant changes coming right after MLG Columbus. So stay tuned for those. And Jason, I don't want to let this show go before I hear about, didn't you go to the Power Glove concert down in Florida?
Oh my God. I have to give the biggest shout out to the guys from Power Glove. They, of course, have supplied our intro and outro music. I have to say, if you get the chance, please, guys, go check these guys out. One of the most entertaining and energetic shows I have ever seen. This was my first time experiencing them live. I actually did get to meet the guys all after the show. Very nice. They understand the gaming world. They grew up playing the same games that we did. You can see the passion behind their music for these games, these cartoon shows, the themes that they're doing. It's just an absolutely wonderful event. And I promise you've never seen a show where a band on stage throws inflatable swords, beach balls, and things of the sort, Starburst candies and assorted other goodies into the crowd during their act, asks people to sword fight while they're playing the Mortal Kombat theme, and then immediately asks them to line up and start rushing dancing as they play their own version of the Tetris theme. Until you have been to a Power Glove concert, go check them out.
Yeah, and as Jason said, near you, they're going to be in LA on July 23rd, Denver at the Summit Music Hall on August 2nd, August 4th, Louisville, August 6th, Milwaukee. Hey, that's just north of Chicago. August 7th, Cleveland. And August 8th, they will be at the House of Blues in Chicago. Definitely a lot of opportunities to see Power Glove. They will also be in Canada. They've got 2 dates in Toronto, one in August, one in September, and they'll also be in Montreal in September. So whenever you get a chance, see them. Jason, definitely you have said that this is probably one of the more interactive, funny, engaging concerts you've ever been to. And trust me, when they're in town, I'm going to go see them.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. But all the good stuff aside, we come to the bad stuff now. Sad times, it is the end of the show this week. Let's give a big shout out to VV sponsors as always: SteelSeries, Gamer Grub, Control Freak, MusicSkins.com, GamerLogos.net, and Custom Ink. One more huge shout out, of course, to the band we were just talking about, Power Glove, for supplying our theme music. Big thanks to the VV community for your feedback and support. This week we need that feedback more than ever. Next week we will start that Feedback of the Week segment. We want to know what you think of the show. Let us know. Be sure to stop by our podcast homepage. The website is vvgaming.podbean.com. You can also subscribe to us over on iTunes. Just search for VV Gaming. We'll come right up. That way you can follow both of our shows, Directional Influence, which, hey, they've got a new format out now. Make sure to check them out. And then, of course, you'll also be able to see our show there, The Losers Bracket. Email us at thelosersbracket@vvgaming.com if you have anything that you'd like us to know, any story suggestions, any feedback that you can give us. You can also follow us over on Twitter. There we are simply known as Losers Bracket.
I want to give a shout out to VV Diehard. Thank you for taking care of all the event stuff at Columbus. We're going to be eating some good food. Look forward to it.
Big shout out once again to Rod for stopping by the show from King of the Couch East Coast. Additionally, a big shout out to VV Titan for his StarCraft update. Guys, we shall see you next week. Thanks again for tuning in. Take care.